Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter from CARTERMATT.com.
We are here to discuss The Voice Top 10. We actually, for the first time all season, we are here together discussing the show, discussing everyone. There's no more highlights. There's no more just standouts. It's like we're actually at the point in the season where we can remember everyone.
Yep.
That's not something that, I've already been said this before. I hate it when they do these like big top 24 shows when there's no way you're going to remember everybody, and there's obviously some people who are not really good enough yet. And
this is the fun part of the show where we know the people that are there.
Yeah.
We're completely invested in everybody that's there, and it's go time.
One thing to say though, and I know we're in agreement on this. Why have the coaches? I mean, we'll talk about everybody, and the coaches are useful for coaching, but I almost feel like there are times when I could go up on stage, and I understand music, but I'm not a great singer. I could go up on stage and just make barking noises, and I feel like they would praise me for it.
Oh, I'm a terrible singer. I'm the worst singer you'll ever hear, but I feel that they would be like, this is the best performance you ever had. Better than last week, better than next week. Like, it's... that is my only real issue with the show, is that I feel that if the coaches, I understand they want to make this a positive experience, and it should be, and I like that is what separates this singing show from all the rest of the singing shows that have been out there over the years. But if they really want to help these artists, there needs to be some sort of constructive criticism that helps them get better. So if they're just like, this was your best performance, even better than last week. Okay, great. Why? Why is it better than last week? What was I doing last week that that made it that last week's performance was weaker? What have I done better this week so I can keep doing that or keep focusing on that and improving? It's almost like they're getting the coaching in private, but then as soon as they're on the stage, there's no critique. Everybody's perfect, and that ain't true.
I think that we all have to just take this giant pill of reality at this point, that it's like season 17 and The Voice ain't changing. They ain't going to give their people any more screen time to be stars after the fact. The coaches are going to give them a million compliments.
Well, that's sort of what I wonder, like, we were talking about this earlier, about how Idol would have a lot of really strong critiques, and a lot of their stars have gone on, or their performers have gone on to be big stars. Yeah. And with The Voice, we've had some people that have gone on to have some success, but it's not exactly the same as it was in Idol's heyday. So, and I wondered if part of it is that every week you're the best you've ever been, and next week you're even better. There is nothing for these artists to take away, to work on themselves, to make them better every week.
I mean, I think it's probably a part of it. I think the truth is, because we're not infiltrating the inner walls of The Voice and the record company and all that, like, we don't know the truth, but it is weird that we're at this point in The Voice. Still aren't big stars. It's an entertainment show. With that in mind, I mean, one of the things we'll be looking at as we go through everybody, we're just simply who entertained us. Because, it's entitled The Voice, but I don't really think it's all about The Voice. People are voting for who they like, and naturally, who they're entertained by. So, we're going to just go through this in order of everybody who performed, because I'm assuming that Jess and I will have different opinions about everyone, so we can't just do a ranking of, worst to first.
It's true.
All right. Rose Short starts with God's Country, and, one of the things I was sort of wondering about it with Rose at first, I was like, okay, she's doing a country song, Blake Shelton song, Gwen's mentor. It's sort of like, okay, how much are we just going to hit this on the nose? Because, we don't need to fool around here. The country vote is real. It's a play to the country vote. But as it turns out, Rose actually does like country music, so...
Absolutely. And normally, we said this before, that going first in the show, sometimes a little unstable ground. And when I heard her perform this song, and it was so good, I've just said, JoJo should be more critical. And here I am, like, she's so good. It was so good that I was really surprised that it opened the show.
Yeah, I wonder how they do this. Like, I wonder if it's sort of a situation where they're like, okay, you performed in this spot last week, so we're gonna make you perform in this spot. Because
or maybe they're just not worried about her
Yeah.
because she is singing a country song. People love country on this show.
Yeah.
She's got a beautiful voice. She killed this song. It was so good. So there's no reason to worry about her, so you can put her anywhere.
I think it's also that they like to start with something that's like up tempo, because if you start with too many slow ballads in a row, you start to kind of up your ante when it comes to someone potentially falling asleep midway through. And that's not to say that all ballads are sleepy, but some of them over the years on The Voice have certainly been that way.
Yeah.
But you know, Rose is great. She's a great performer,
Yes,
great
she
understanding
is.
of how her voice works. She made a country song feel natural to her, and you know, I felt like I understood why she would want to do something like this.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It was a fun start. And this brings us into Marybeth Byrd doing Lose You to Love Me. I mean, bonus points for doing something that's like really, really, really current.
Yeah, for me, it was a pretty performance, and it was a nice performance, but it wasn't a performance for me that was like mind-blowing and I'm gonna remember this forever. It just didn't go there for me, especially following Rose, who blew my mind.
I think it's just, to me, I think, well, vocally it wasn't bad. I think what's missing to me is she occasionally, I want to like dig in a little bit more, and I want to just sort of like take almost a wrecking ball, not to reference another former voice coach, Miley Cyrus, to the facade of the show, and actually get to sort of cure more pain, more heartache, and like this is a really hard song emotionally, and I don't think it got to that depth that I needed from it, because I'm not saying I need somebody openly sobbing on the stage, but I think I needed to go just a little bit deeper. And I've been a fan of Marybeth. I think she's had some really good performances. She's still like that one thing away from getting into that sort of higher tier contenders. And then that's sort of an interesting sort of transition over to Kat Hammock, who was the third person tonight, because I think she is, just based on Twitter alone, the most polarizing contestant on The Voice this season.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it on Twitter, and she's not my most favorite. She's not, by any means, she's not a terrible performer. She deserves to be here in the top 10. She is good. Just, for me, this song, for some reason, didn't match up with her voice in a way that others could have. And
Kat is one of those singers, because when she is really good and when she has the right song, she does feel like a top tier contender this season. But when she has something that doesn't feel right for her, it really exposes all the flaws in her voice. Her intonation was off. She was flat a lot in some of the notes at the end of this. I think having songs that require her to hold out notes aren't really the best for her. And also, this is just sort of a critique I have a lot. If you are a teenager, you don't necessarily have to choose songs that are done by teenagers, but I think you need songs that emotionally you can connect to. And You're Still the One, to me, feels like a song you maybe sing when you're in your 30s or in your 40s and you're talking about, a long-term relationship and staying power.
Yeah.
This just, it didn't work connectivity-wise for Kat. So
yeah, I agree with that. You do have to have a song that makes sense for you.
Yeah, and I just think it didn't work for her fully, and I think there's still a chance she's going to get by, because she's got a really good coach, very popular coach. She's done all right so far in the voting, so I think she might be okay. Whereas, Shane Q, who was in danger last time.
I'm worried after this performance.
Yeah, I think
Caribbean Queen is, I know it doesn't seem like it's a tough song, but it actually is. The chorus of that song, you have to have a powerful voice for that. And while he's got a really nice voice, this song, again, was a bit of a mismatch. It felt like I don't know how to say it. It's just something I would hear in like a a cool kind of loungy, like bluesy type club where I'm really into it, and the music's really good and the singer's really good, but then they get that song that's just doesn't fit in.
It felt a little bit too much like a, hey, this is sort of a office party song, rather than, okay, this is a song on The Voice. And Shane can do some cool stuff, but this particular song, it didn't allow him to enunciate everything well. I didn't always get all the notes that he was doing. I think the presentation of it was weird. The staging of it was off. It felt cheesy. And I think really the thing is, Shane's voice, he's got like all that soul in it and like all that sort of grit, and like I think I want him to be like doing like dark, creepy, and like scary songs.
This song is a song that's, like you said, at an office party or like a wedding song that the band is going to be playing, and unless they were doing a little bit of a different arrangement with it for Shane, then this is what we got.
Yeah.
Where it felt like I was still listening to something out of the 80s. Except it just didn't fit.
Let me throw this suggestion out to you. Like, give him some like creepy New Orleans voodoo kind of music. Like a House of the Rising Sun.
Yes, and that's why I was kind of saying, like, he gives me that kind of cool club bluesy kind of feel to him more than Caribbean Queen, which is not that at all. It was just a bit of a mismatch.
All right, so Jake Hoot is next, and Jake, you know, I will say it a lot, and I've said it a lot before, I'm not always like the biggest fan in the world of sort of the common country music tropes. So, I mean, of course, my first reaction here, okay, Jake is doing That Ain't My Truck, is to just, like, elicit a little bit of it. I'm from Texas. I have heard every country trope known to mankind. With that being said, this is as good of a performance of That Ain't My Truck as I'm probably going to hear. I mean, he hit the notes. He moved around well. He sold it. I mean, it seemed like he was actually believable in singing about how that ain't his truck.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a country fan. I'm not even going to pretend that I am. This might have been like the third country song I've ever heard in my entire life. However, that being said, Jake's voice is like warm milk. It's like smooth and comforting, and I just love his voice. So even though I'm not a country fan, I'm a Jake fan.
Yeah, I think you're probably overall maybe a little bit more of a Jake fan than me.
Yeah.
But that's, I think
His voice is just, it's so smooth.
Like, he's kind of like mid-tier for me. Like, I'll be happy if he moves forward, but I think
How dare you?
I am jaded by watching so many male country singers on The Voice over the years. And, you know, I think he has talent and he has a nice voice, but I need to see him push himself more. You can do That Ain't My Truck very well, but I want to see you push yourself outside of kind of the standard country music lane. Joana Martinez is next, and she did Impossible, and I mean, it's a hard song, but I'll just say this from the start. If I'm looking back at this episode, I don't remember her very well. Like, she's forgettable to me.
Wow, I loved this performance.
Well, that's good. Tell me why. Tell me what I'm missing.
The performance just felt very like she was in that moment. And yes, this sort of felt like a song that could have been a little not age appropriate. She is young. This is a song that's a little more attitude that you're giving to your man kind of thing. But she sold it for me. I just think her voice has power and so much soul for being so young. Yes, the story sort of who she isn't there enough for me. I need more of that to be invested in her, Joana the person, but Joana the voice. Woo! Holy smokes, that performance, amazing.
here's where I think my issue is.
No, we're not talking anymore.
Well, we have like 4 more people to do, so I mean, this is gonna be very awkward otherwise. But I think vocally she's good. I think my problem is I don't connect with her.
I think you mean outstanding.
It was very good. I will go with I will go with my adjective choice. But I think that really it's just like I look at Rose or I look at Katie or even I look at Will and like these are people who like I connect with. Mm-hmm. And it makes me excited for what they're going to do. I think Joanna is good, but I don't have that undercurrent yet. And that's a great introduction to Katie here because I love Katie. I've made that clear for weeks now. I think her style is awesome. I think her voice is awesome. I mean, Rolling in the Deep, I'm not going to act like it's the most surprising song choice in the world because
yesterday said that she is going to be the next Adele. She is. Her voice is incredible. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because I love the 50s and I live in a 50s time warp and she's like 50s rockabilly, everything. I love her style. I can't get over it. Every week I'm just insanely crazy about it. What's she gonna wear next? How's her hair gonna flip next? I love her. But then her voice comes in, like she is the whole package. She's all of it. So when she came out and sang Adele tonight, I was just like, I just said this yesterday. And here she is doing Adele. And it was incredible. It was everything I hoped that it would ever be.
Is this your favorite of the night? Put you on the spot here.
It's tough because I'm kind of in the road with Katie, who I love. Yeah. Joanna, who I love. And Will, who I just was so incredible tonight. I'm not going to pick. I refuse.
Okay, you refuse the question.
I refuse the question. All 3, I'm taking all 3.
Well, it's a good thing this is not the finale and you have to pick a winner because we would all be... No, I think Katie's really good.
For tonight, those 3 really were outstanding to me.
I think she was incredible vocally. I think she moved. I think just...
Alright, you pick just one.
I will. I'm saving it till the end.
Oh, so, I see what's happening. You just gave away the spoiler.
Maybe I'm going to compare him to somebody else. But I think Katie was incredible. I think it was everything I expected it to be. I mean, it didn't surprise me, I think, as much as some other things that she's done. But, I mean, just that voice. The way that she can get so much like just power out of some notes that I've heard Rolling in the Deep like 200 times by 200 different people.
Yep.
And it was still special when she did it.
Yeah.
All right, now we have Hello Sunday with Stone Cold, and I know you have been a Hello Sunday fan.
Yeah, I do. I really like them, and I like them tonight as well.
I like the man. I am the harsh judge in this video because I'm about to be. I don't want to be mean to kids, and that's the thing because they're so young.
They are, but they're still performers, and they are on a show that should be judged.
No, I think it's that this song doesn't feel like a song that 2 people should be singing. I think this song feels like it's a Stone Cold is more like such an introspective song that I get sort of thrown off when they're both doing it. I think their harmonies when they're together, they're great. They're kind of like Cat to me in that they have really high highs and a little bit lower lows than a lot of the other people in the competition. They're not my least favorite of the night. Like I would say they're probably maybe like bottom 3, bottom 4. I couldn't really get into it, and I think a part of it was also that they are so young doing a song that feels a lot more mature than who they are right now.
Yeah, I had a bit of a hard time connecting the story they were telling beforehand about the diabetes connecting to this particular song. So that was the problem that I was having with this, like hearing this story and the struggles with diabetes, which is, it's hard. Yeah. It is struggles. But it didn't connect to this song for me. So when I was hearing this song, I was kind of like, this package beforehand is throwing me off a little bit while watching this. I think it was still good, but the connection was a little bit off with that.
This is, I think, the thing. I mean, we've already given The Voice some notes here that I know they're not going to take because they've been doing this for so long, but let's give them another one. Everything that everyone said so far as their stories went tonight, like they were real, they were personal, you know, my heart goes out to a lot of them, but it also feels, I wish there were times where we could get to hear more positive things about things people enjoyed, because it felt a lot like everyone went into an interview room and they were like, tell me the most devastating thing that's you've ever gone through.
Absolutely. And I know that in general, these reality type competitions love their sad stories or their difficult stories or really emotional, heartbreaking stories, because everybody watching has had those moments themselves. Everybody has gone through heartbreak. Everyone has gone through losing someone or these types of scenarios. So it makes sense that producers would probably be like, tell me the worst moment of your life so that we can, share that with other people and everyone can make a connection to that. But there are positive things that are in people's lives as well, graduating or getting married or, falling in love, all these really wonderful things, having children and all these great things that people also connect to and be like, oh man, I can, we were just watching Dancing with the Stars and Lorna Lena was on that show, and one of the things that she was talking about was her connection with her grandmother and how much her grandmother loved Elvis and she loves Elvis. And I was like, oh man, that's like the same story that I have with my grandmother, who also loves Elvis and brought me into that kind of world with Elvis. So, and it was all positive, and I feel like this show can bring that as well, where we can have those positive moments that are like, yeah, Elvis.
Well, we have two people left, and we have Ricky Duran, and I feel like this may be where the pendulum turns a little bit, because I think I'm probably more of a Ricky fan than you are.
I do like him, and like I had said about Shane and the idea of sort of that growly, bluesy kind of feel of the voice. I like that voice. I like the blues, and I like that feel. So tonight I did like Ricky's performance. I did like the song that he sang. I'm not as big of a fan of him as you are, but I did like him tonight.
I think it wasn't as good as last week, where I thought Ricky could have made a case for having the second best performance behind Katie. I thought he was really good last week, and I think he was still very good. I think the advice Blake gave him was really pretty good in the package, where he was just like, this is the voice. You gotta have these sort of moments that people remember.
Absolutely, and for me, it wasn't there. It's still a good song. It was still a good performance, but that voice wasn't there.
Yeah, that is Ricky's problem, in that he's so solid and he's so slick, and I feel like if I was to go to a concert, like, Ricky would probably be like one of the three people of this season right now that I would enjoy the most, because I know he's competent, he's a really good musician. I feel like I enjoy listening to everything that he does.
Yeah.
But there aren't so many of these like big moments, and maybe that will cause him some problems in like the finale, but let's be realistic. He's on Team Blake. He's a musician dude with the guitar. He's not going home.
He's not going home. But he hasn't been a performer that each week I'm just like, yeah, it's Ricky. He's gonna blow my socks off tonight, and he just hasn't yet. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You're forgiven. Yeah, because we're all about to be happy, because we're talking about Will Breman, Will freaking Breman, first of his name,
okay.
The king of the blue hair. No, I love Will. I've made that clear in a lot of videos over the season. I think he is unique. He's talented, and here's what I really liked about him doing My Body, which I don't know if it's the most recognizable song by a lot of people out there who watch The Voice, but Inside Baseball, while I was listening to this, I was moving things around to get in here and do the video, and I was just kind of like dancing around while I was doing it. It was just like I was having a good time, and that's what Ricky does it for me too, but this is what Will really did. He gave me a really enjoyable experience, really good vocals, good take on the song. I felt the connection. I felt how much he was into it. Can we talk about John Legend dancing during the performance?
Hey, you were also dancing during the performance. Will has a way of getting people up on their feet. And he works the stage he's been a rock star for his whole life since he's been a kid. And I know he mentioned he was in kind of like a screaming metal band, and that may be how it's helped him to be able to move like that, roll around on the floor, and still have his breath to be able to sing like that. incredible. I understand why they saved him for the last performance of the night. He closed the house down.
Yeah, I like it a lot when the voice closes with something that's like big and energetic and up tempo. If it's done this well, I mean, there's times every now and then when I listen to Will and like his cadence, he actually sounds a lot like John Legend with the way that like he ends his notes. But yeah, this was just one of the most fun times that I've had listening to him through the entire season. And I mean, I've liked a lot of his stuff, but this sort of gave me back those first audition vibes when I thought he could really legitimately win. I don't know if he will, but he's going to make it to the next round. So let's not worry about that. But tomorrow, the results are happening.
Yep.
We'll see what happens. But for now, we want to hear from you guys. What did you think about The Voice tonight? Who did you like? Who did you dislike? Who are you rooting for? Share in the comments and give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the CARTERMATT store. And we'll see you here next time.